Hello YouTube, I've got a good one for you today. So again, I'm going to be playing in the Farragut, and this was kind of an interesting game that I thought really uh, did a good job of illustrating how Farragut can be so good in the late game. I'm not going to lie, the start of this match is a little slow. So I skipped out the front bit and we'll try and get through this first part, but when I start in the middle on this map, I rarely sit in the open out in front of this island because it's just a kill box surrounded by firing ships and all sorts of nasties that want to take you out. And if you're a destroyer spotted in the middle of here, then everybody and their dog is going to want to have you sunk to the bottom. So I tend to go over to these islands and look for targets of opportunity. And there's on the other side of this island in Omaha that is just getting a little bit too aggressive for what he's actually driving. So turn around, make sure I'm locked on the right ship, and send a couple spreads of torpedoes his way. Now, that Omaha is certainly going to die. Rushing the middle of the map in a ship like that is just not going to work out. And you see the torpedoes are looking pretty good right there. But then it seems like he just hits the gas and they all start going behind him. I mean, I always put a spread behind because I usually assume people are going full speed. This guy obviously had a lot of room to accelerate because all of my torpedoes went behind him. So a little bit of a frustrating start to the game. I've got like one shell hit and not a lot of prospects right now. It seems like the other team is spread to the flanks and isn't really pushing the middle on this island, so I decide I'll have to just keep scouting and looking for targets. And so while I'm doing that, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Farragut itself. Since I like the ship so much, I wanted to just look up the history. And it turns out that this ship was actually took part in the attack at Pearl Harbor when she was with a bunch of other destroyers, and they're actually able to get her underway, and she made her way down the channel at Pearl Harbor and was able to keep her guns firing the whole way. And one of her sailors actually got a Bronze Star for his heroics that day. Probably the biggest action that the Farragut was ever part of was the Battle of the Coral Sea, where she was escorting the Lexington carrier group. And they were under heavy attack, and the Farragut went through a lot. There was one day where the Farragut's battle group had 5 confirmed aircraft kills. And she was just a great ship for the U.S. Navy, built well before World War II in 1934. So, all right, let's get back to it. So right now, I'm mostly just spotting. I don't really have any good targets, so I decided to, meander off into the middle here and see if I couldn't catch this Bayern unaware. I know that there's a Mahan over that way, which is a little worrisome, but I think his health's been chunked pretty good. But this Bayern is charging pretty quick, which means I can leave my torpedoes behind and run away, and hopefully he'll run into him. So that's my thinking there. And then I turn my guns because I know there's a Mahan over here, and that's a little scary because it's also an American destroyer, and could definitely take me out with a few good shots. Being tier higher than me, it's a little bit better of a ship, as you would expect. But I think he's more interested in trying to bug out. Oh, as you see, we got a couple of torpedo hits on that Bayern. And so it's like, okay, well, this game is starting to shape up a little bit. And so we get some more hits on the Mahan. And like I said, he's more interested in bugging out, and I don't want to go chasing him. Chasing destroyers is usually not a good idea. Just they have torpedoes, they're usually faster than you, and even in this destroyer that's a destroyer hunter, I didn't want to go hunting that Mahan down. And we've also got this Bayern coming in the middle, so I'm like, okay, well, I can get more shots on him over here. Not that he really needs it with those 2 torpedo hits and my team giving him the works. Yeah, he did not stand much of a chance. So Now the enemy has 6 ships left, and we have 7, so we're doing pretty good. Like, this has been a pretty decent game so far. Oh, what's this? Oh, we've got the enemy Farragut decides to make an appearance. Now, notice I didn't start shooting immediately until I had to, until I was detected. I wanted to give time for my rear guns to swing around so that I could get more shots on him before he knew I was even there. Or at least give a little bit more time. I think you know what I mean. And he smokes up and tries to hide. I know his relative last position, and I know he's not moving too fast, so I just send both spreads of torpedoes right in that direction. I also note that I take a pretty good turn. I didn't just hard turn, but I took a nice steady turn to keep my speed up a little bit, and then I'm turned into the cap because I know he's going to be shooting torpedoes out, and I want to be as unpredictable as possible. Oh, and there we go. I got a devastating strike, so the enemy is now down to just 4 ships left. So that's our first kill of this game. The enemy has 4 ships left, and this is where the enemies, they're pretty beat up at this point. And I mean, I feel a little bit bad about this one, but I managed to ninja this kill on the glassware and get our second kill. So our team is looking pretty good right now. We've just got one destroyer that's over down by the cap right now fighting our friendly destroyer. And so it's like, okay, well, we've got a good chance to push the cap right now, so I start beelining it that way. I also have a friendly ship off to my starboard side that I want to keep safe from this destroyer if at all possible. So, unfortunately, the T-20 is able to kill our friendly, and I want to go avenge him as best I can. But the T-20 is a bit more stealthy than I am, and I am not sure what what he's doing. So he goes undetected, and I'm trying to guess what he's going to try to do. I'm sure he sees my friendly battleship that's running behind me, or kind of off to my right side. And so I was thinking, all right, if I were him, what would I try and do? And so in my mind, I was thinking, if I were him, the enemy Farragut, meaning me, would go for the cap, and the battleship would follow. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, the smart play might be to go as deep south as you can, circle back around, kill the battleship, and then hopefully be able to work your way into the cap before, the enemy Farragut, me, would be able to cap it. So thinking that's the worst case scenario, I'm like, all right, so I'm going to go down and I'm going to try and screen for the battleship. And that was another reason I wanted to do this replay, because I felt like this kind of illustrated what the Farragut actually did historically. She was a ship meant to screen for the rest of the group for battleships and carriers and try and keep an eye out for them. So we spot that set of torpedoes early. And this is where I wasn't too smart. I wasn't exactly sure which way those torpedoes were going, whether that meant he fired them and he's heading that way or the other way. I didn't take a close enough look at them and was more worried about looking at my map and whatever at the time, making sure my battleship was seeing them and I didn't focus. At any rate, I'm not exactly sure. I don't think that he slipped by me to the south. I think he's probably over by his cap somewhere, but I'm not sure. At this point, though, we've got good support, and we've got another friendly coming in from the north, so it's like, let's just get in the cap. And I know that he's at least close by, so there's no way he could get to our cap or anything ridiculous. And then I get spotted, so it's like, okay, good. I'm pretty sure I know right where he is. He's right behind this island and goes unspotted, and that just kind of further proves the theory. It's like he either, ducked into my detection for a second and ducked out, or he went in between islands. So I give these islands a little bit of a wide berth because I know that he saw me, but I didn't see him, so he could just launch torpedoes. And I'm also driving a little bit erratically because I just don't want to give him the easy kill opportunity. But I'm not spotted anymore, so it's like, okay, where is he? Where could he pop out at? And this is where my knuckles get white. I'm just so tense, waiting, trying to figure out what's going to happen. I know they've got their ships coming in from the north, and oh, there he is. And this was probably a very poor choice by him. So notice he's going in a straight line, not trying to juke my shots at all. He didn't fire for about 5 seconds. And so to me, that's like the automatic red flag. Okay, he's just firing torpedoes. And I'm hoping that my friendly battleship caught on to that because, he's the one that was probably the target, I would assume, in that situation. And yep, he sent torpedoes at our friendly battleship and unfortunately killed him. So now we're just left against 2 ships, and one of them is a cruiser, which is always a little bit of bad news for a destroyer. You don't want to tango with a cruiser, especially at close range, which in a destroyer almost always close range. If you can hit them, they can hit you harder. But this is kind of a weird cruiser. This is a Grafspee, and it's a cruiser with battleship guns, so they've got slow reload and hit really hard. They're not ideal for killing destroyers. So in my mind, I see him fire and I'm like, okay, well, he's about to go behind this island. I can get a couple shots on him before he does, and he probably won't get to shoot back at me. Actually, he could have, because he did send a barrage at my friendly ship there, so he technically could have shot at me. But now we're hiding behind the island, and we're in pretty good shape. So right now I'm like, okay, well, I'll try and ambush him as he comes back around, and I'm just debating the best way to do that. So amazingly, I haven't used a smokescreen yet this game, and so I'm like, all right, well, I guess now is as good a time as any. We've got the defensible position inside of their cap. So I pop my smoke, my friendly is spotting him for me, and I just start laying it down. He tries to get a few shots, but doesn't connect. And he's on such low health that even my little cap guns are able to finish him off. We get another fire, and he's done. And then his battleship, who had been coming out to try and support him and probably wanted to kill me, help the Grafspee kill me before he got a chance, or before I got the chance to kill him, rather. He comes around, and he gets battleship-itis, which means he just keeps going in a straight line, easy target. I accidentally popped out of my smoke there for a second. That was a mistake on my part. But it looks like at least one from my first spread's going to get him, and then, yeah, that's how we got a Kracken late game and actually killed the last 5 ships on their team. It was a really good game. You can see I actually got quite a few of the bonus event stuff for it. And we walked away with a really good game here. So we got 78,000 damage, 5 kills, and all of it was late game, obviously number 1 on our team. And I think the Farragut is just very underutilized late game, because often destroyer captains want to get in, fight, die really quickly. But if you can manage to keep yourself alive till late game, you can do a lot of damage. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.